There we
Oh my
go.
God, he's
Mhm.
stunning.
Mhm.
There's this thing called mute button. You just have to hit
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I know. And let me get your music ready. Here we go. You only had one shot. You only had one opportunity. You called the folks at Lender's Choice Mortgages, and this guy says, it's time to look at what's happening. Welcome back to our program, Mike Kazarian. Hey, Michael, how you feeling?
I'm doing great, Howard. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I just found out. Would you be okay talking about? I didn't realize your shoulder was bugging you that much.
Yeah, I'm set up to. I'm just waiting to get rotator cuff surgery.
What? This will this
Yeah,
affect?
yeah.
Is this going to affect your 2024 golf season? Obviously.
I would say.
It is because they can't give me a firm date yet. So it's yeah, it's a little it's not fun.
Is this something that's been bugging you for a while? A lot of golfers, a lot of, again, as we get older, you play a lot of sports. Is it something that happened like an acute thing where all of a sudden, oh shit, I've done something? Or was it just over the last few years you knew it was bugging you?
Yeah, it was over years, but like I had no problem swinging the club. It was just raising my arm above my head, and then
Well,
probably
stop
like
doing that.
last. Wow.
Does it hurt when you do
Um,
that? Yes. Don't do that.
Cured. Dr.
Yeah, but
Glassman,
then
once again.
I couldn't sleep, so
Oh, I
like
see.
it was so painful. And then I got a cortisone shot, started doing physio, got back in the gym, and I went and see a surgeon, and he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "You know, it's up to you whether you want to do it. It's like 85% chance it'll
Mhm.
improve, 15% chance
Mhm.
it won't improve, and 1% chance it'll be worse." I'm like, "Well, I'll take the chance."
This gym thing you talk of, what would that be?
Yeah. Fred, it's like when you go to that senior's place and do your little stretching.
Oh, right.
It's like
Howard, by the way, I was going to mention, on-air meeting. A lot of guys I know, Doug included, Mike, shoulder problems. We should have Dr. O back on the show.
Oh,
The shoulder
doctor,
miracle
yeah,
man
the
that
miracle
helped me
man,
and
yeah.
helped a lot of guys. But
Oh,
anyway,
well,
because that was
Kaz,
interesting.
Look,
it was,
and not only that, I need to be 100%. If I'm ever going to beat Howard on the golf course, I need to be perfect shape. So,
oh, please. Listen, you with your bad wing beat me plenty last year. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. And I found out through a series of emails there was a thing being passed around about trying out for some team. And I saw Kaz's response that his shoulder was, I was like, because this would have been, was this your first year of eligibility for the Geezer team?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, let's talk about something that a little more pleasant. We've been talking about Kazarian the last couple of months and what he does for people in terms of mortgages. And I mentioned yesterday, you've always got some great information, whether we lead you there or not. But let's just start with the basics. We had our financial guy on a minute or two ago talking about how important planning is. And I would offer the same question to you. When it comes to anticipating changes in a person's mortgage, it's never too early to start the planning process, I imagine.
I just talked to a client the other day. We send out notices 2 years prior to the maturity. So I had a discussion with the client, 2 years. He had a rate of 1.59%. So there's really not a lot to discuss because he's got 2 more years left at a great rate. But yeah, it's just having that comfort, having the knowledge to know what to expect. And, in this case, I didn't have to do anything for this client, but definitely, 12 months, 6 months prior to your maturity, you need to have those discussions.
What about the discomfort level? Somebody that has 1.59 and their mortgage is coming due.
Well, I think people have been prepared for that over the
Yeah.
last year and a half, right? So they know it's coming.
Mhm.
And then you got to look to refinance and maybe increase the amortization if that payment is uncomfortable for you. So there are options.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I would say reach out, give me a call, or reach out. Obviously, have that discussion with your financial institution, and see what options are available with them, and then shop around for options.
Because that's going to happen to a lot of people whose mortgages are coming due this year and next, that they had a low rate. Maybe some people say, historically low, artificially low. Their rate's about to go way up, but there are things you can do. And you just mentioned one of them. You can amortize a mortgage for a longer period. Do you recommend that to people? because
Well,
they're
look,
going to have.
it's not ideal, right? Nobody wants to increase the length of time that it takes to pay off their mortgage. They want to reduce that time. But if that payment is uncomfortable for you and it's impacting your cash flow, then you do it. And the benefit too is that you can increase your payments and you can make lump sum payments. So you don't necessarily have to take a longer period of time. But if right now you're in a cash crunch, you increase the amortization, and then as your income or your finances improve, then you can pay down the mortgage.
Yeah, there's that sort of tipping point, isn't there, when mortgage rates were really low? I mean, the urgency to pay it off quickly wasn't there. And ironically, as interest rates go up, then obviously it's costing you more. So it's quite a formula or a dilemma that you have to deal with in that
Yeah.
situation. Hmm.
I had a great conversation yesterday with one of your listeners. Um, Really nice guy. He has multiple properties, investment properties. And when you talk about planning, I would say if you are an investor, you really need to talk to somebody that understands how to build a real estate portfolio, understanding which lenders to go to first, because it's critical. And I know I did a
Hmm.
little switch here on you guys, but it was just a perfect segue in this conversation that I had with one of your clients yesterday. And he has three mortgages that are coming up for maturity. So,
Mm.
um, he's starting the conversation early, looking at options, and maybe he won't do anything. Maybe he'll stay with his existing lender, but it's about having all the information and so that you can make educated decisions.
Well, that's kind of where we like to leave it with you and of course Tim Niblett, our friend, the retirement Sherpa, Jay Bondi. It doesn't cost anything to have those conversations. You never know. Mike's been at this a long time. He has an institutional understanding. He's got an understanding now as a mortgage broker. It doesn't cost anything to give Mike a shout. It's Mike at lenderschoice.ca. Lenderschoicemortgages.ca is the website, because those conversations can lead to, maybe something you haven't thought of, especially if you've got multiple mortgages, because when you talk to the Kazarian, even though his arm doesn't work, he still can make sure he can still make sure that whatever mortgage you are going to get is the most advantageous for you going forward. How do you like that? That's a pretty good commercial right there.
I think that was great. You have a great radio voice. You should do radio.
Yeah,
You might want to think about it.
when you say things like you were talking to one of our listeners, I just get a warm feeling. I'm so happy for you.
Well, listen, I just got an email just 5 minutes ago from another one of your listeners, seeing if I can help a client. It's apparently in the news. I haven't read the whole story, but clients that purchased a church somewhere north of the city, and they're having, what's that?
No, I say my wife. That's what she wants to do, buy a church. Why? What's the issue?
So I guess they converted this church. They put a ton of money into renovation, and now they're having difficulty with their financing. But maybe their existing lender. I don't have all the details. I haven't read the whole story.
Is there a mortgage with the Bank of Jesus? Is that what's the problem?
You know what? Maybe he was a carpenter, wasn't he?
That's exactly it. He got him to do some work, and it didn't work out. Hey, well, listen, man. I'm glad that some of our listeners are taking advantage of your expertise, because it really is great to have you. And every time you're on, you provide great information. And I'm going to follow up and see how it's going on, because I want to know how long you're going to be out, because you and I are a formidable team.
You are the senior club champion forever, engraved on that trophy.
Whatever. Thank you, Mike Kazarian. Mike at, I'm sorry, now you got me all excited. It's Mike at lenderschoicemortgages.ca.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
All right, pal. I'll be talking to you soon. And again, it costs nothing to give Mike a shout and have him guide you for your mortgage renewal. Take care, Kaz.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Okay, Mike, take it easy, bud.
Bye, Fred.